Hello everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Adobe Premiere Pro Essentials tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 3, and here I'll be showing you how you can actually create a new sequence, and I'll also be explaining you guys about the timeline, okay, like how you can actually work on the timeline and different things about the timeline as well. Creating new sequence also have different ways of how you can create a new sequence. I'll be telling you guys about all of that in detail here in this particular class. So let's not waste time and let's learn how you can create a new sequence and about the timeline as well. So here, as you guys can see, I am here in the home page of the Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay. So from now here, I will be creating up a new project. Okay. And I will name this one as new sequence. Okay. So I'll be naming this particular file as the new sequence. And now I will just click on create over here. And it will just create me a workspace on my PC. Okay, so here as you guys can see, I do have a particular workspace and I have already shown you guys how you can basically import your media. Okay, so if I double click, I do have a lot of videos out here. Okay, so for me, what I'll do is I'll just click on this one and I'll open, and here you guys can see I do have this particular video over here. Okay, so there are basically two ways of how we can actually create a new sequence. Okay. First one is if you just go to file, go to new, and from here, you guys can click on sequence and it will just give you the settings of sequence over here. Okay. And the shortcut key to create a sequence in Premiere Pro is Control plus N or Command plus N if you're using a Mac. Okay. So this is one way of how we can create that. And another one is you guys can come here, as you guys can see in this project window. If I just come down, I do have different options. Okay. So this just beside the new bin option, I do have the option for the new item. Okay. So I just need to click here on the new item. And from here as well, I can just create a new sequence. Okay. So till now, I don't have any sequence, okay? As you guys can basically see, I do have a timeline over here, but here you guys can also see there is no sequence, okay? So let me tell you guys that in one project, you guys can create multiple sequences, okay? Suppose you are creating something, okay? Like you are creating a series or something like that, or you're making any kind of things where you have just divided those in parts like part 1, part 2, part 3, kind of like that. In that case, you guys can basically use this sequence to get a good preview of your work. Okay, so I will just try to create a new sequence and I'll show you guys what are the options that are available in the new sequence. Okay, so first thing I am going to do is I am going to click here, okay, on this sequence options. And once I have clicked on this particular sequence options, here you guys can see I do have different presets of sequences. Okay, so those are basically sizes. Okay, so these are basically different sizes for different cameras. Okay, so here as you guys can see, if you do have a Canon high grade. Okay, so here you guys can see Canon XF MPG G2, okay, and a lot many more. If you just come down, you guys will be able to see that I do have a lot of it over here. Okay, so suppose if I do just choose this one, okay, I can just select this one from here, and over here I can just come down and I can take any sequence which I want. Okay, and if I just come here to my settings down over here, okay, I also do have different options right around here as well. Okay, so here in the editing mode, what I can do is I can just select from here which type of camera would I like to choose. Okay, and if I just want to custom these things down, I can just custom these things down here as well. Okay, so here as you guys can see, if I just custom these things down, I can do that. So for that, now I will come here, okay, in the time base. So I can choose how many frames per second do I want. Okay, so let me take 25 frames per second, or what I'll do is I will just come here. Okay, I will just cancel this thing out. And what I'll do is I will just give this one a list view. Okay, so here in the list view, as you guys can see, the frame rate of this particular video is 29.97 frames per second. So according to that only, I will try to create my frame. Okay, so I will just go to sequence again, go to settings, and from here, I do have the option for 29.97 frames per second. Okay, so I have selected this one, and make sure that you guys choose the aspect ratio in square pixels. Okay, in most of the cases, I do use that. So here you guys can also see the display format. Okay, so you guys can take this defaulted one like drop frame code. Otherwise, you guys can just take the frames over here. Okay, so the sample rate, if you do have an audio for that, okay, you guys can actually check what is the audio rate which you guys want to use. Okay, and here video previews. In the video previews, you can also see the file format. Okay, so this is basically the file format over here. Okay, there is the width and the height right here. Okay, so if I just want to save this particular preset, I can actually save this particular preset over here. Okay, so if I come to tracks, here you guys can also see, basically for tracks, I will have 3 video tracks and 3 audio tracks here as well. So from here, if I want to add little more, if you think that, okay, I do have more, I just need more tracks. So directly from here, you guys can actually select more number of tracks over here. Okay, and this is the via video. So this one is kind of an advanced thing. Okay, so via video we will learn maybe later in some advanced tutorial. Okay, so let me come here in this tracks, this settings. Okay, everything looks good to go. And now I can actually create one sequence, and I can just name this sequence. Okay, so maybe I will name this sequence as 1. Okay, and I can just click on OK, and it will just create me a new sequence. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have just created a new sequence over here. Let me get a grid view around here. Okay, so how you will differentiate between which one is a sequence and which one is not. Okay, so make sure that every time once you look around, you need to make sure that this icon is there. Okay, so if this icon is present over there, then you need to make sure that that one is a sequence but not an video itself. Okay, so this one is a sequence right now. And what I can do is now I can basically import my media over here. Okay, so I want to import my media. So right now, if I just come here, if I click, if I want to change the sequence settings, I can actually change the sequence settings over here. Okay, so I'll just cancel this thing up. Okay, so let me just take this video and I can just put up this video right around here. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, once I am trying to put this thing here on my timeline, they're just giving me a warning pop-up. Okay, so it says that this clip does not match the sequence settings. Okay, do I want to change the setting to match the clip settings? Okay, so that means that the sequence which I have created just now, that doesn't match the sequence which I do already have in the video. So they're asking me, do I want to change it or do I just want to keep the existing settings? And make sure that you tick mark, always just mark this box. Okay, then it will always show you this particular thing over here. So if I just want to change sequence settings, so you guys can see now the settings of my page is changed. Now if I just come here and if I go to my sequence settings, here you guys can see a lot of things have changed over here, which is the frame size have changed here. Okay, which is now 1280 into 720. Okay, and everything else is kind of looking the same. Okay, but the frame size have changed over here because I have give those particular instruction. So I'll just cancel over here. And now here, if I want to, so now here in the timeline, as you guys can see, okay, I can basically zoom in. Okay, so for that, I just need to click on Control and plus. over here on my keyboard. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I do have this particular keyboard over here. Okay, so if I just click on Control plus, here you guys can see I am able to increase the size around here. Okay, the size of my thumbnail. And if I just click on Control minus, okay, I can actually get back down over here. Okay, and if I just click plus on my keyboard, here you guys can see it is just showing me the whole video over here. Okay, it is just increasing the size. And the same way, if I just click on minus from the keyboard, here you guys can see it is just decreasing the size of this particular click over here. Okay, so I will just place this particular key around here. And there is another way if I just want to increase the size of my thumbnail. Okay, so here you guys can see once I increase the size of my thumbnail over here, here you guys can able to see that I do have this particular video. Okay, so it's just showing me the starting of this particular video over here. So this is the starting of the frame. Actually, I will be able to understand. But for me, what I do is I don't actually make this one quite big. Okay, so let me just increase the size that you guys can see actually this particular timeline frame properly. Okay, so this is one way of how we can do it. And let me make you guys understand about these options right over here. Okay, so always make sure that when you are on your timeline working, okay, so that time make sure that you just on this particular thing. Okay, snap in timeline option. So for that, what will happen is, suppose I do have a different video with this one, which I'm going to place. So let me just take this video. Let me open this thing up. And now what I want to do is I just want to, I will just come here again. Okay, I'll just decrease the size. And now what I will do is I will just import this video over here. Okay, so I will just import this particular video over here. And what I can do is, suppose I will just take this kind of over here. So once I do have my snap on over here, now once I am trying to move this thing up, here you guys can see it is snapping to this other frame over here. But if I just on this thing up, sometimes what I can do is, if I don't have this on, if I try to keep this thing over here, it won't snap the way it was doing before. Okay, as you guys can see the difference. So what will happen here is, suppose I am just playing my video right around here, and there might be a little gap. Okay, so you guys will be able to see that there is a chance of me doing the same mistake again. Okay, so here you guys can see there is a small gap around here. If I just bring my playhead over here, there is a small gap which is just giving me a blank screen. Okay, so this one is giving me a blank screen over here. So I need to make sure that I just on this particular snap, and I will just keep this thing properly over here, and now it will snap. And you guys can see now this thing is quite perfect. So now what again I'll do is I will just delete this particular frame. And if you guys just zoom in, and if you guys try to see over on my screen, okay, once I have imported this particular video, I do have a white mark over here. Okay, there is a white mark in the corner and in my audio here as well. Okay, so now if I come here, okay, if I come to this one, and now if I double click, and if I get my particular video here in this particular frame, and now what I'll do is I will just play this thing up. And suppose I just want to use this frame for 5 seconds over here, I will just mark this thing out. So in this case, now if I just import this whole video over here, I won't have this particular mark uh, over here. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just drag and drop this one over here. And now you guys can see I don't have this one here in the ending. Okay, because I have started this video from here, but I didn't end this video where it was supposed to end. Okay, so that's the case basically over here. Okay, so let me just give you guys an example here as well. Suppose if I just come here, if I just select this, move out. Okay, so maybe let me bring this one over here. Okay, let me place this, and now I will come here, okay, and I will select mark in option. And now I will just bring this thing right around here, okay, or I will just play this thing up from here. And now I'll just give this thing a pause, and now I will just mark up. So I do have this particular frame over here. And now once I bring my particular frame here, you guys can't see this white line. So we just need to understand that this particular frame is full. Okay, they do have the total footage, but here I don't have the total footage out here. Okay, so we just need to make sure that we understand that one. Okay, so let me just delete this thing again over here. Okay, and now I will just go back here again. And if I just want to go back, I can just go back here as well. Okay, so if I just want to decrease it, I can just decrease it here as well. And suppose I do have anything in my screen, okay, and now I want to work on that particular thing or in a particular part. Okay, so for that, if I just want to add a marker, so I need to make sure that I do have my playhead in that particular place. And in that particular place, what I can do is I can just click here and I can just add a marker over here. Okay, so I can just see where I need to work in my footage. Okay, so I can just come here and I can check this marker over here. Okay, and what I can do is also I can just click on this particular marker. Okay, so if I just need to click on any particular marker, I can just click on that particular marker here as well. So this was about this particular place about marker over here. And now this is the timeline display settings. Okay. So as I was telling that if I just try to increase the size from here, you guys can see I can increase the size from here. Okay. In this spot. Okay. If I just click on plus here, you guys can see I do have the first frame as my thumbnail over here. Okay, so I can do that. And if I want to change this particular setting, what I can do is I can just click here. As you can see, the timeline display setting. Otherwise, I can just come here. Okay, and here you guys can see if you want to expand all tracks, here you guys can see all the tracks are being expanded. Okay, you just need to click on all of this. Okay, and from here, if you want to customize video header, you guys can also customize the video header from here. Okay, add or removing keyframes. Okay, these are few options. Go to next keyframe. Okay, if you want to reset this particular layout of this particular thing, okay, for the video format, you guys can do that. Okay, so from here you just need to click on reset layout, and once you're done resetting, you guys can just click on OK. So now again, I will come here. Okay, so if you want to minimize all the tracks here, you guys can see I can also minimize all these tracks over here. Okay, and always here as well, if I just want to increase these things quite a bit, I can actually increase these things a bit as well. Okay, so now as you guys can see, I do have a different option. So if I just want to unmark anything, okay, so I can just unmark anything. And if you want to show the source clip name and the level as well, I will be able to view all of those things here as well. Okay, so I will just expand these tracks. Okay, this one also kind of looks good. So I hope you guys have understood this class on how you can actually use the timeline. Okay, so I have just gone with the basic of timeline and how you can create a new sequence. Okay, so you guys already know that this is a video track and this is the audio track. If you want to log this thing down, okay, you guys can log this thing down as well. If you want to mute this particular track, okay, so now if I just play this thing around, I don't have any music. Okay, so if I just unmute this one here, you guys can actually hear the audio. Otherwise, you guys can check this audio panel out here. So with your space, you guys can actually pause this or play this thing up. Okay, or suppose you do have number of audios here in your particular sequence. Okay, in that case, what you can do is, if you just want that solo track to be played, in that case you guys can just click on solo. And if you want to give any voiceover record to a video, you guys can do from here as well. Okay, so I don't mostly use that one. Okay, so you guys can use this one and check it out. Okay, that is not that great for me. Okay, I don't use that personally, and I won't recommend that as well. Okay, if you do have to do, you guys can actually give a voiceover. After that, you guys can come here and you guys can edit those things out totally. Okay, and from here also, if you want to extend this or zoom in, zoom out while editing, you guys can also do that. If you want to expand the size of this thumbnail, you guys can expand. Or if you want to decrease the size, you guys can decrease the size from here as well. As you guys can see right over here. Okay, so if I just come down, okay, this is how it actually looks. Then see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye, everyone.